Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for the first day of November. Getting through the month of October and heading into November, we're getting back to a wet period. It's going to be warmer than the last round of precipitation that came through, so that means there'll be limited valley snow possible. Although, with some valley inversions in place, at least the next couple mornings, we might see some pockets of light snow in the lowest elevations. Otherwise, the first round of rain and snow might rear its head this evening, but more likely late tonight, tomorrow, and into Friday. And beyond that, about every other day, we're going to have another storm moving through. That doesn't mean the precipitation is going to stop necessarily, but we'll just see an increase in the chance of rain and snow when one of these storm systems comes through central and eastern Idaho. On the satellite, the past couple of days, we've seen this highly amplified pattern to our west. You'll notice the flow has, instead of coming out of the north, is now coming in out of the west. This moisture, these waves, have finally broken that amplitude of the ridge, and we're going to set pretty much right on the northern end of that for the next several days. You already can see some higher and mid-level cloud cover moving in. We might see a sprinkle today with this, but the better moisture and the better chance of precipitation still offshore. That's coming in again starting late tonight and into tomorrow. Our weather risk outlook matrix, there's that very low chance of a rain or snow shower, a sprinkle or a flurry today, most likely up in the higher elevations around Stanley and the Sawtooth, but we start to pick that up. And impacts on a daily basis, not terrible at this point. We could see some slushy snow and maybe some slick spots, depending on the timing of the moisture, the next few days up in the higher elevations. Otherwise, rain in the lower elevations, and like we said, in some of these colder pockets, it might be a little bit of snow in the morning hours before it warms up during the afternoon. Looking at how things are going to progress with that forecast, looking at noon today, you don't see much going on. Maybe a little better chance of a sprinkle or shower over the central mountains late this afternoon and this evening. But you'll notice as we get past midnight, this might be 1 or 2 hours slow, but we'll see an increase in precipitation over the central mountains, especially after midnight. That trend continues into tomorrow. We will not see the moisture moving out of the central mountains and eastern highlands for the most part tomorrow. Maybe later in the day, some very light rain or snow will shift towards the Snake Plain down into the southeast corner and the South Hills, and you can see that kind of showing up in the forecast. By 5, 6 o'clock, we have that next. This is going to be the best period of moisture. It'll be later tomorrow into tomorrow night. You'll see that moving through, and this will bring a bit of a cold front through, and it's not really much of a cold front. It kind of cools things off a couple of degrees. Mainly, this will be when the winds pick up ahead of the front. They'll die off behind it just a little bit going into tomorrow night and Friday. And by 6 a.m. Friday morning, this main area will shift off to the south and east, and some showers are still possible, especially in the mountains later in the day on Friday. So headed back to the rest of our forecast temperatures today, you'll notice where we kind of keep the inversion going up over the northern end of the plain and some of our cold spots that are like that. It's not going to get out of the 40s, and we're not necessarily talking the higher elevations where it will still be in the 30s and 40s today. But once you get, especially where we can get a little bit of a south wind, a mixing of the wind here from Pocatello over into the Treasure Valley and south, will be in the low to mid 50s. Also lower 50s around Stanley and up through the 93 corridor from Chalice to Salmon as well. Going into tomorrow, you can see where the colder air gets locked in up north. It'll be below freezing once you get in out towards the Arco Desert. Also, is in Blackfoot and Idaho Falls, but no moisture expected in these areas overnight. We don't have to worry about snow. We get that southerly wind going and overall warmer conditions south of 84 and 86, where it'll be in the low to mid 30s for the overnight hours for these areas. A little stronger downslope may produce some upper 30s once you get to near 40 down south of Burley and also into portions of the Treasure Valley. But you'll notice it's a warmer day tomorrow, mixing these inversions out. Still holding in the 30s and 40s up towards Spencer and DuBois, but 50s and even near 60 once you get down towards Burley, Twin Falls, down towards Oakley and the City of Rocks as well. Otherwise, 40s and 50s in the valleys, 30s and 40s up in the high country. This is for tomorrow. The winds do pick up, and you'll notice during the day tomorrow, most of these gusts around 15 to 25 miles an hour, some gusts in excess of 30 up in the central mountains. And with that little bit of a boundary slipping through tomorrow night and early Friday, some gusts to 20 to 30 miles an hour shifting south and east over the Snake Plain and eventually into the southeast highlands by sunrise on Friday. By the time we get to Friday, those temperatures do back off in the afternoon. You'll notice about maybe 2 to 4 degrees cooler across the board in many areas. But for Thursday night and Friday, with that system coming through, you'll notice it's going to be staying above freezing over a good chunk of the Magic Valley, the Snake Plain, down into the South Hills and portions of the southeast highlands. 35 in Chalice, even getting to just near above freezing in the upper part of the Snake Plain with that band of moisture coming through. So we still can't rule out late Thursday night into Friday morning some snow in the lower elevations up there at least, but not much is expected if we can even get it to accumulate. Here are those wind gusts going into Friday. Those wind gusts still 20 to 30 miles an hour, and those will continue to shift off to the south and east initially. And then it's going to be the typical pattern as the system comes through, and behind it we get some gusty winds coming up the Snake Plain. Now, looking at the snow amount, snow levels really not getting much below 7,500 feet with this event, at least before the moisture moves on out. Most of the snow will be 7,500, 8,000 feet and higher. And not much of accumulations, a couple of inches in the higher elevations of the central mountains, especially over the Sawtooth, and really not expecting above 3 inches, although there's about a 10 to 20% chance we could see above 3 inches there. Over into areas along the Wyoming border, up around Island Park, still 1 to 3 inches possible. The Tetons looking at more than 6 inches of snow, and the probability of seeing over 3 inches outside the Tetons is still about 20 to 40% over there. This is for any precipitation starting late tonight all the way through Friday. Looking at rain or snow that is melted and converted into an amount we could measure in a rain gauge. Not much going on outside of the Sawtooth, also over and around Island Park and the Tetons, where some of those amounts are a half an inch to an inch in those areas. And again, some locally higher amounts on the highest peaks of the Sawtooth and the surrounding mountains, and certainly over in the higher elevations around the Tetons. Again, this is with this first round. We have plenty more coming once we get into the latter half of the weekend and well into next week. Temperatures on Saturday, you don't see much of a change temperature-wise, maybe down a little bit, a couple of degrees in the morning, and the afternoon temperatures still running in the 40s and 50s in the lower elevations. The higher peaks running in the 30s, maybe some 20s on the very, very high peaks like Bora, those types of elevations for highs on Saturday. And on Sunday, just continuing to kind of stay status quo with this flow coming through. So, and each day here, later into Saturday, especially maybe early Saturday, we're fine, but Saturday into Sunday, an increasing chance of rain and snow with the next storm that's coming into our area. So once again, we've got all this multiple rounds of rain and snow. The first round really moves in late tonight and continues in tomorrow and Friday, then just about every other day after that. And we don't have to worry about Arctic air. We don't have to worry about necessarily snow in the elevations. That doesn't mean we won't see some light, wet snow in the lower elevations. This may be an issue, especially if we get some valley inversions kind of holding the next couple of mornings. Have a great first day of November and stay safe out there, everyone.